Today is the second episode of the Airbnb Design Rescue series, and then today we will be diving into one random Airbnb listing that honestly looks it hasn't been booked for months. And we're going to give it a full design audit with some Photoshop magic, market strategy from ChatGPT. So let's find out how much better displays could do and how yours could too. So first things first, we need to find the listing for today. And we are in New York right now. This is Manhattan, this is Queens, and this is New Jersey. Okay, there's one that is popping up that I feel that that's going to be the one right away, but there are some very similars to that one. Let's see this for 2280. Okay. Well, I can see why. It's well designed. It's okay for an Airbnb. It does the job and it's a guest favorite, so perfect for this Airbnb. It makes sense. Let's see this one. It's okay. These sofas are not amazing, but it's okay. So now let's go to the ones that are not doing that great. So let's see this 13 for 1300 for 5 nights. Is actually not bad at all. I don't know why this one is not doing that great. Okay, but let's go to this one. This one has been popping up a lot and I want to see what this listing is about. So first of all, it has 5 reviews, and from those 5 reviews it only has 4.8, which is not great, but let's check. I'm starting to see why. Okay, this is the living room area, it seems. Okay, we have 4 chairs for the kitchen island. I guess they're compensating the fact that there's no dining room. This bench, this is like the coffee. This is a bench and a coffee table at the same time, it seems. Yeah, there's nothing on the walls, not a single decoration on this Airbnb. I have a feeling that the bench is the same bench that's in the living room area, but they just put it there as the staging of the place because it's also on the second bedroom. And I don't think they got 3 benches that are exactly the same. I think they have been just putting the bench everywhere to make it a little bit more full of furniture. But it's not working. This Airbnb has a lot of potential because it has a good amount of natural light, which is great. And also it's spacious. I mean, you can work with that. I think it's a little bit too gray. I used to watch this TV show when I was a kid. I think the name in English is The Very Odd Parents. And I remember they had this episode where something happened to the entire world, and then the world lost its happiness, its colors, its beauty, and everything was gray. Even humans, or like the characters, they were also in grayscale. And they were so depressed, so sad. And then Timmy needed to save the world and bring the colors back. So we just need to fix that a little bit. I feel this is a perfect Airbnb to check if it's worth fixing it. So what we're going to do now is that we're going to go to ChatGPT and we're going to use a prompt to check if we upgrade the design of this Airbnb, would the Airbnb increase their profits and their bookings, and it would be worth it for them? Just took a screenshot of the area, and then I said I found this Airbnb listing in New Jersey. It's a 2-bedroom apartment and is currently listed at $345 Canadian dollars per night. Can you analyze the current Airbnb market in that area and tell me how much I could realistically increase the price and bookings with a well-designed version? Okay, so it's saying that current nightly rate is 345 Canadian, right? That's the baseline for outdated design Airbnb listings. But for the top designed listings, that nightly rate in the same area, the same characteristics of the space, can be up to 460 per night. What does that mean? That the per booking uplift is plus 575. And the monthly uplift, if they have 4 bookings, that will be $2,300 per month. So as we can tell, the design audit for this space is so worth it because it's gonna be around $600 more per booking. And if you have an entire year of that, it could be up to $2,700 more per year, which is quite a good amount of money. So now let's focus on the design part of this process, which is my favorite part. Okay, so we're gonna try to use the pictures that capture most of the space. This one, because it captures the kitchen and the living room. And then I will be using a little bit of this picture just to show you guys this area, like the window wall area. And then we're just gonna pick one of the bedrooms. So let's see what we can do with this. So the value I always want to bring is to try to potentialize your space with what you already have. So let's say if you have already some furniture, I would try to work with the furniture that you already have so the investment is not as big. But sometimes I cannot work with the furniture you have. So when that happens is because maybe the furniture is just too outdated, or it doesn't belong to any style, or I cannot just make it work with any style. So I need to change the furniture. But I promise I always try to think about everything and see what can I leave and why I just can't work with. Working with a white canvas is always hard. So the good thing here is that we don't have a white canvas. We have a canvas full of the things that we just don't want, right? Which is great. Starting from something is great. So I'm gonna start by telling you the things that I don't like about this space. So first, I feel this thing here, I mean, you enter the Airbnb and the first thing you see is this huge water, that's something for water, I'm sure. And then the garbage is there as well. The garbage actually could be here somewhere. And then it can actually be a nice garbage can. But these things, I want to get rid of those. Also, 4 chairs here, you cannot even, if someone is already here and here, you cannot even access this chair. So that's something I want to review later. They have this sofa, which is also a bed, but it's extremely outdated, it's gray, the fabric is not great, you can tell it's a very old couch. Yeah, it's not working, and I don't think this sofa goes with any style, so I don't think I'm gonna keep it. And same thing for this nightstand here. Actually these two belong together, but if we want a top design Airbnb, we cannot have those. Also, this bench here, I don't understand what was the purpose of the bench. So there's no coffee table, and it's a huge space, so you can actually have a coffee table. And I don't think this combination of these walls and this hardwood floor, it's contrasting enough. So I feel that even though there's a lot of natural light, the fact that all the walls are gray, it's making the space feel darker. Same thing here, everything is pretty much gray, all the walls. This furniture piece, which is actually really nice, but it's not contrasting enough with the walls because everything is just gray. And then same thing with the sofa, with this little guy here. And then the window, I feel that with curtains, everything looks so much cozier and warmer. So let's try to do that on this wall as well. And for the bedroom, I don't think I want to keep this bench that is everywhere. And same thing here, I would love to have some curtains here with layers. And then I wish I could work with these kind of bed frames. Let's see if we can work something out. Also, there are almost no lamps in this space, no decoration elements, nothing. So we're gonna try to work on that as well. Okay, so the first thing that I want to make sure is, would the white walls make a difference in the space? Let's figure it out. There's a big difference. It feels cleaner, brighter, and then there's so much room to play with styles here and different elements. But when we have the gray walls, you're limited. Your options are limited to those gray walls. So I definitely would have to request these walls to be painted in white. Yeah. Okay, the first thing that I want to find is the sofa. So the other day I went to Article and found this beautiful green sofa. For this time, I know Airbnbs, they want to maximize the space and everything, but I don't want to do a sofa bed for this space. I don't think it's necessary, and since I cannot talk with the host, because they probably would never watch this video, but I feel that their space would serve so much better if it doesn't have an extendable part that where you have to move everything and then just have a bed there. But if I had more time, I would probably find a really nice sofa bed, but because we're doing this in a limited amount of time, so I need to work with what we have. This one, yeah, that one was the one that I saw. I didn't want to find a beige color or something too light, because for Airbnbs, unfortunately, this doesn't last clean for so long. So we're gonna go with this one. Here we go. So this is not a render, an actual render. Promise at the end is gonna look better, even if the perspective is kind of off. So now I want to go and find a coffee table for this space. This coffee table is beautiful. Rounded tables or just tables with no 90-degree angles, they're so much friendlier to any space. It's just easy to walk around them. They just look more organic, and they just adapt very well to pretty much any space. Yeah, I'm gonna do that for the coffee table. Okay, so we just placed the coffee table and it's looking good. So far, it's looking good. Let's remember what we were working with and look how this is going. So the reason why I picked this couch is because I want something smaller, so we have space for an actual dining table. Having a dining table is way more important than an L-shaped sofa. So we're gonna try to find a dining table. Okay, I decided to go to CB2 now, because usually CB2 has this organic or dining tables with more personality, so I wanted to go with that. And this one caught my eye. So let's go with this dining table. We cannot go with something too big because the space is not huge, so that's why we're going for something smaller, but that gives the people the opportunity to eat together when you rent an Airbnb. So that's the coffee table. And then for the dining chairs, I believe in plastic dining chairs. I always like to mix furniture from brands like Article and CB2 with IKEA finds. And IKEA finds are great for these kind of furniture pieces. It's the dining chairs in this particular situation. I feel that they're just easier to clean. They're not gonna be as damaged as they could be if they were not made out of plastic. So I feel that I found the perfect ones. So let's go for chairs. It's this material, but I don't see them. Okay. I just have 686 results more, so I'm gonna find it soon. Where is it? Where is it? Okay, I'm gonna try to find it, and I'm just gonna put it in the Photoshop, because we don't have time for that. Okay, we found them. So these were the chairs that I was talking about. Those are it's actually a very interesting material. I feel that it can go well with the space, and they just work great in the space. We have a really long wall and we also have a really long space. So we need to divide the spaces somehow. How do we do that? With rocks and with elements even. So I'm going to show you first the elements, how they can divide the space. So we're going to place a mirror that you can find at IKEA. So look how big of a difference a mirror makes in the space. It's crazy. And now we're going to go with the rock. So let's try to find a rock, an area rock. Found this one actually pretty interesting because it was actually the colors that I wanted to use in the living room. So I think that might work out. Also, I couldn't go with the beautiful beige versions because again, it's an Airbnb, so I need to have a mix of colors and I need to think about the fact that they're gonna get dirty. So we need to have that in mind before we buy the rock. Okay, so here's the rock. Everything is coming together. Please forget about, disregard the fact that I know perspective is not perfect, but it's hard to find the actual pieces and put everything in perspective in Photoshop, at least with my level of Photoshop. But I know you can understand the concept. Something that this living room was missing was that it didn't have any other chairs in the living room, so people could actually see each other what they will have in a conversation. So I went to IKEA. It's called Sander. I don't know. So is this guy here. I feel it's perfect because it's not bulky and it's almost like decoration for the living room, but it also serves as a seating in spaces that are not that big for actual chairs. Here are the poofs. Then one poof, I don't think it's enough. So that's how the living room is looking so far. I think it actually looks pretty good. We have wood, we have earthy tones, we have textures, so I love it. I'm loving it so far. What are we missing here? So we're missing lamps, first of all, and then we're missing decoration pieces that actually makes a space feel like home. I would love to find the perfect plant for an Airbnb. I found that this plant here is actually really good for these situations. And it's real, which I would love to see more in Airbnbs, real plants. I don't care if they need a little bit of water and I have to water them. I would love to have real Airbnb plants. For example, in my Airbnb right now, because I'm staying in a different country right now, this one is fake. I just couldn't get rid of it. And this one is real, but we bought it for the space. We just needed to have these natural feelings in the space that we're gonna live for more than 6 months. Then for the decoration part, we're gonna put some shelves. This wall has a lot of potential, and again, with more time, we can come up with different ideas and try things and all of that. But this time, I want a shelf. I think it can make a big impact in how you perceive the space. I got this lamp. You can get an IKEA, or you just find something unique and you just put it there. The only thing you need to have in mind is that we need warm yellow light. That's it. And then I found this other lamp at IKEA as well. Okay, so now let's go to the other side of the Airbnb, which is this side after the sofa that we're not able to see. So let's put the sofa, the green sofa that we have. The main thing that I wanted to change in this specific area was putting curtains on that wall. The idea I came up with is to put some curtains, and I feel the room feels much cozier this way. And suddenly the design, it all makes sense. Shelf here with books and plants. This is how it looks like when you're getting inside of the Airbnb. Okay, so now let's go to the bedroom. So the first thing that I wanted to check in this bedroom was if I should paint these walls as well. because it has the exact same problem as a living room. So I definitely going to leave the white walls in the space. I also want to do the same with the curtains, so we're gonna them here. They also can be layered, different colors. And I thought, you know what this room is needing a lot? A mirror. We want a mirror to check the outfits, but we don't want a mirror to see our reflection while we're sleeping. So we have to be cautious about the mirrors in the bedrooms. But I came up with this mirror that you can actually find also at IKEA. There's a lot of furniture stores that have these kind of mirrors. I wanted to change the bedding and also the bed frame. I think it was too strong for the space and too big. So that's what I came up with. But I really like when there's something on the wall to mimic a headboard. Is it a bed head or a headboard? Let's call it headboard. So we're going to install these fluted wood panels that you can find at Home Depot. I feel that it makes the room feels a little bit more intentional, because otherwise we would have been all white walls and we don't want that either. And then we're gonna need a side table. So the room already has two side tables that are too big. I would go with just one nice side table and move the bed a little bit so there is more space for the actual side table at the corner. I found this chunk of wood that you can use as side table. I think it's actually pretty wabi-sabi in the sense of that it's not perfect, it's raw, but it goes well with the space. So that's why I thought it's a perfect idea to have these kind of things in your Airbnb. And lastly, we need light. What is this? Oh, yeah. So we need at least 4 pillows. That's for sure. So that was my intention of this. Again, is the perspective thing that I just couldn't find the right pillows to put there in the right perspective, but you get the point. So the last thing that we need is some lighting, some lamps, so we don't have to use the overhead lighting that it's also white. So it would be ideal if the Airbnb host can change that white lighting for a very warm yellow light. It makes all the difference. So in this case, we're gonna have a huge lamp that is gonna be a decoration piece, a statement piece, and also a source of light. So this is the lamp that we're gonna use for the space. We can also have a rug here to maximize the coziness of the space, but I feel this is good for now. So this is pretty much for the bedroom. Okay, are you ready for the final look? It's insane, I just can't believe it. And I did this in like 4 hours, which is a lot, but imagine what 4 hours can do to your space. This was the living room area. The space felt a little bit depressing, felt dark even though there's a huge window on the opposite side. The chairs on the kitchen island were too crowded. There was not enough contrast. There's no decor pieces. It's missing a lot of functional pieces. This is the after. Now we have a living room where we can actually have a conversation. It feels warm, it feels lighter. Now it actually feels like a home where you can share a meal with your family and also actually enjoy the social area of the living room. This was the other side of the living room. Even the window wall is not catching any of that natural light that window is bringing to the space. Too gray, too dark, too uninviting, and this is the after. So now we have a space that looks brighter, that it also makes you believe that the space is cleaner because it looks clean, it looks organized, it looks well designed, and that's what the well-designed path is gonna do to your space. So now the living room is not mainly organized towards the TV, but it's also a space where you can have a conversation with your family or with the people that you're traveling with. And now for the bedrooms, it was the same story. Everything felt a little bit too dark, a little bit depressing. The window was also huge, but that was not helping the room because of those gray walls. Also, the bed frame was a little bit outdated. It feels more industrial. And also the bedding could improve a little bit and bring more light to the room. So this is the after. The bedroom now feels way lighter because of the curtains, and also feels much brighter than it was before. We included wooden elements that would bring the coziness and warmth to the bedroom. We added a mirror that can actually make the space look a little bit bigger as well and have more contrast. And now the bedroom overall feels like home, feels like you want to actually take a nap there. You actually want to get home and rest in your really nice bedroom. You can actually take pictures of your bedroom, and that's really important for Airbnbs. It's not about being Instagrammable or things like that. It's more about thinking what would be the best experience for the person who's staying in your Airbnb. This was so much fun, but more important than that, it shows how smart design can literally change the value of the space. If you loved this transformation and these kind of videos, hit subscribe, because I like to do these kind of videos once a month. And the next one, we're gonna try to do another listing that's even worse than this one. So let me know in the comments if you have seen an Airbnb that desperately needs help, and I might just fix it next. See you next time.